Married for 10 years. I got married young. I was 21, barely, like 3 days, 21. I left the good guy. He looks at and is like, that's a dad. That's a husband. That's how it's supposed to be. He did the dishes. He cleaned the house. He took the kids to school. He worked all day. He made good money. He supported us.
Why'd you get divorced?
He's not confident enough for me.
He wasn't confident enough for you? What the does that mean? Who's your ideal man? If you could be with any man in the world, who would it be?
I haven't found him yet.
You haven't found him yet? Damn, you're so confident. You need a man on Pluto or something.
Trust me, when it gets to the point where you're like, oh, sugar, I've actually lost a good guy here, then they hit.
That's when it hits.
That's when it
Let me tell y'all something, sis. Stop breaking up with your man. If you're married, stop threatening that man with a divorce. Every time he do something so small.
If he gave you a guilt-free pass to sleep with anybody in the world, would you use it?
Yeah.
On who?
Zac Efron, Josh Bowman, some celebrity, hot celebrity.
You can't be for them.
Married for 10 years. I got married young. I was 21, barely, like 3 days, 21. Already had a baby. He was 8 weeks old at our wedding. And I remember feeling like my marriage was temporary from the beginning. Like that I wasn't gonna make it. And I didn't know what that feeling was. I just thought it was.
So let me get this straight. She was married for 10 years, strung this man along for 10 years, had children with this man, and knew from the beginning that she didn't want to marry him. Marriage is forever, and it's not temporary, and age is not an excuse in my opinion. But there's more to the story, so continue.
Fighting for me, I was pushing him away. But I never truly accepted happiness. I left the good guy. He looks at and is like, that's a dad. That's a husband. That's how it's supposed to be. He did the dishes. He cleaned the house. He took the kids to school. He worked all day. He made good money. He supported us. I mean, yeah, we had our problems, but he was the good guy. So I'm here to tell you, it's okay to leave the good guy.
And she says something about finding happiness and not being happy, but she doesn't realize is that a man isn't the one that's going to make you happy. You have to make yourself happy. So she should have done a lot of self-work within the relationship, because you can be in a relationship while simultaneously working on yourself. And because she got married at 21, I'm sure she missed out on her hoe phase, and now she's going to be 31 as a single mom out having fun because she missed out on it, as if that's going to be acceptable going into her 40s. And basically she goes on to say how a guy can be a good guy, but not the right guy. But here's my thought process. Okay, first of all, you knew that from the beginning and you're not upfront, or did you communicate that? You wasted 10 years of this man's life where he could have gone out and found someone who appreciated him. But additionally, now it's 10 years later. If she was 21, she's 31 now. So now she's a single mom at 31. And she's about to go on the dating scene, and she thinks that's going to be better and that there's good guys still left out there. But this is also what I talk about on this page about these women. They ruin the good guys because now this man is going to go get his heart broken and never be the same ever again, all because she knew from the beginning and couldn't be upfront about it. Like, how sick and twisted do you have to be to make a man a placeholder and have children with him? And so many women in the comments right now are like, oh, this is exactly my situation. I've been married for 11 years and he's such a good guy, and but he's not for me. Y'all need to stop listening to shitty advice on the internet like that and go into therapy and fight for your marriages and fight for the good men that are out there, because I can promise you that the dating scene is not any better. But not only that, this man is about to get all his shit wrecked when she already knew from the beginning that he wasn't the one. In divorce, he's about to lose half, and who knows his visitation. You know how a lot of women can be with the visitation of their children, and as soon as they're pissed, they give the silent treatment. There's so many things that could happen in divorce that, she didn't consider in the first place? Just despicable. Okay, bye.
Ever wondered why some women leave their perfect husbands? Picture this, a man who steps up and shares the household chores and childcare, who brings in a reliable income to provide for the family. He's the guy who listens when you vent about your day, who remembers anniversaries and still opens doors for you. By all conventional standards, he's the perfect husband. Yet some women find themselves looking at this man and deciding to walk away. This is what we call the perfect husband paradox. It's a conundrum that baffles many, the idea of having what seems to be the ideal partner, yet feeling an itch of dissatisfaction. It's like having a delicious meal in front of you but still craving something different. Now, we're not talking about abusive or toxic relationships here. We're talking about genuinely good men who by most measures are doing everything right. But for some reason their wives aren't content. They see a minor flaw, perhaps a habit or characteristic that doesn't quite align with their vision of perfection, and they decide it's a deal breaker. It's important to remember that perfection is subjective. What one person sees as perfect, another might see as lacking. In the quest for the perfect husband, some women might be setting themselves up for disappointment by expecting their partner to check every box on an impossible list. And let's be clear, there's nothing wrong with having standards or wanting the best for yourself. But the perfect husband paradox arises when these standards become an obsession, when the pursuit of perfection blinds us to the good that's already there. So, what's the solution? Is it to lower our standards or to accept that perfection is an illusion? Or is it to redefine what we consider perfect? These are complex questions with no easy answers. But one thing is clear. The perfect husband paradox is a real phenomenon that's causing some women to leave seemingly ideal partners. So, what could be the reasons behind these surprising decisions? Let's delve deeper into this paradox and explore the possible explanations in the following scenes. Believe it or not, some modern women have the end in sight before saying, "I do." This isn't a grim prediction of marital doom, but a surprising reality of pre-planned divorces. It's a scenario that may seem baffling to many, but it's worth delving into to understand why this happens. Diving into the deep end, the reasons behind these premeditated splits are as varied as they are complex. For some, it's a calculated decision rooted in financial gain. Marriage, in these cases, becomes more of a business transaction than a commitment of love. The husband is viewed as a bank, and the wife plays the role of a shrewd investor, planning to cash out at the opportune moment. Then there's the issue of commitment, or rather, the lack thereof. Marriage is a promise of lifelong companionship, but for some, this promise is overwhelming. The fear of being tied down to one person for the rest of their lives can be daunting. Consequently, the idea of a pre-planned divorce becomes a safety net, a way out if things get too suffocating. However, it's important to note that these scenarios don't represent all marriages, but many marriages that happen in Western countries. Furthermore, these instances underscore the importance of genuine intent in marriage. It's not about the grand wedding or the shiny ring, but the promise to stick together through thick and thin. It's about commitment, respect, and love. Without these core values, marriage becomes a hollow shell, susceptible to cracks and eventual breakage. So as we peel back the layers of these pre-planned divorces, we're forced to confront the uncomfortable truth. The vows of "till death do us part" can sometimes be little more than empty words, spoken with a hidden agenda or a backdoor exit strategy in mind. Are these pre-planned divorces a sign of calculated strategy or a fear of commitment? While the answer might vary from case to case, one thing is clear. The essence of marriage is lost when it's viewed as anything less than a lifelong commitment. The man with all sixes, a dream or a backup plan? Now that's a question worth pondering. We've all heard about the mythical man with the sixes. Six-pack abs, a six-figure salary, standing 6 feet tall, and well, you know the last one. But let's take a minute to really dissect this concept. Is this sixes man really the dream, or is he more of a backup plan? We often hear women vocalize these desires, but is this what they truly want, or is it a societal construct they've been conditioned to seek? Let's be frank, a man with all the sixes is a rare breed. It's like finding a unicorn in the wild. But more importantly, these traits don't necessarily guarantee a fulfilling relationship or a happy marriage. A six-pack doesn't ensure emotional compatibility. A six-figure salary can't buy genuine affection. Being 6 feet tall doesn't mean he'll stand tall for you when life gets tough. And as for the last six, well, let's just say intimacy is more about connection than size. Moreover, it's worth noting that the sixes man may be more of a safety net than a true desire. A man with these traits is often seen as a symbol of security and status, a safety net of sorts, but is this really what women want or need in a partner? Or is it what they've been told they should want? What if, instead of chasing after the elusive sixes, women focused on finding a man who respects them, listens to them, and supports their dreams and aspirations? A man who is emotionally available and willing to put in the work to keep the relationship strong and healthy. So, are these ideal traits truly desirable, or just a safety net? Is the sixes man a dream or a backup plan? Maybe it's time to redefine the dream and focus on what truly matters in a relationship. After all, love isn't about ticking off boxes, it's about finding a partner who complements you and helps you grow as an individual. Can one find happiness while staying committed in a relationship? Now that's a question that's been asked more times than we can count. The answer, in its simplest form, is a resounding yes. But it's not always as straightforward as that. Happiness, a state of being that we all strive for, isn't something that can be found in another person. It's not an elusive treasure that's hidden in the next relationship, or the one after that. Instead, it's a journey that begins and ends within ourselves. You see, the notion of working on oneself isn't mutually exclusive from being in a committed relationship. Quite the contrary, it's in these relationships that we often find the best opportunities for growth. The challenges we face, the differences we navigate, and the compromises we make all contribute to our personal development. There's a common misconception that being in a relationship can hinder one's pursuit of happiness, that somehow, commitment is a roadblock on the path to self-discovery. But this couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, the lessons we learn from our relationships often serve as stepping stones on our journey to happiness. So, where does this leave us? Well, it brings us back to the idea that happiness must come from within. It's not about finding the right person, but rather about becoming the right person. It's about discovering what makes us tick, what brings us joy, and what helps us grow. And when we embark on this journey of self-discovery, we often find that our relationships enrich the experience rather than detract from it. We learn to appreciate our partners for who they are, and in turn, we learn to appreciate ourselves. So, to all the women out there who left their perfect husbands in the pursuit of happiness, remember this: your happiness lies not in the arms of another, but within yourself. It's a journey that you must embark on, a journey that requires introspection, self-love, and personal growth. Perhaps the key to happiness lies not in a change of partners, but in personal growth. Do some women only appreciate what they had once it's gone? This question, though seemingly simple, has a profound depth to it. It's a question that echoes in the chambers of regret and longing, where the echoes of past decisions reverberate and the ghost of what once was haunts the present. In the aftermath of divorce, some women find themselves staring at the ruins of their marital life, a life they chose to demolish, only to realize that the grass on the other side wasn't as green as they had imagined. They dance with regret, a dance that is as bitter as it is cathartic. In a previous video, we delved into the stories of modern women who experienced this harsh reality. Women who, after parting ways with their partners, found sadness in their newfound freedom when they saw their exes move on, leaving them behind with their regrets and what-ifs. Regret is a powerful emotion, especially when it comes to lost love. The complexities of human relationships never cease to amaze, do they? We've journeyed through the paradox of the perfect husband, the pre-planned divorce, the myths of the sixes, and the pursuit of individual happiness. We've seen how these elements can twist and turn, creating a labyrinth of emotions and decisions that often leave both parties in a state of regret and longing. We've explored the idea that perfection is subjective, and that happiness is an inside job. We've questioned the motivations behind marrying for material gain, and the illusion of greener pastures that often lure individuals away from their commitments. These are not simple issues. They are deeply woven into the fabric of our society, our expectations, and our perceptions of love and relationships. We urge you to reflect on these insights, form your own opinions, and engage in conversation with others. Remember to smash that like button, subscribe with bell notifications, and share this video. Let's keep this important conversation going.